Hey guys, it's Jason Morris from Real Estate Agents That Really Work, and I want to talk. I read the book 53 Strategies to Get More Listings, and one of the strategies I talk about in that book is looking up past and current sellers in the tax records. Okay, and this was a strategy that I found by accident one day. I was looking for tax information for a property I was going to list, and I looked up the seller in the tax records. I just happened to see where the seller owned some other property, and he just didn't mention it when I talked to him on the phone. Um, I waited until we had all the paperwork signed for the listing that I took. Then I asked about the other home I saw in the tax records. I was like, "Hey, Mr. Seller, I saw I saw that you got this other home lot over here. What are you gonna do? What are you guys thinking about doing with that?" And all of a sudden he goes, I mean, I'd already looked at aerials. I knew nothing was on there. It looked like it was wooded. It was actually 8 acres. And told me they were thinking about selling it too, but they just didn't really know when. So I said, "Oh, okay, great. Well, I made some notes in my file and stuff that I was keeping on them, and I waited until we got a contract on the listing that I just took, and then as soon as we got a contract, I waited about a week or so. I needed to follow up with him to get some information. So what I did was I followed up with him. I said, "Hey, Mr. Seller, hey, this is Jason Morris. I talked to him about whatever I need to talk about." Then I said, "Hey, you had that other 8 acres over here. I'd already pulled up comps. I mean, I had all the information from the tax records. I'd already pulled comparables. I'd already pulled everything." And I said, "If you guys were going to sell that," I said, "you guys were talking about selling it. What kind of price were you looking for, or what kind of price were you thinking about it?" And he goes, "Well," he gives me a price. Well, I'd already pulled the comparables. I told him I already knew that we could get that. I mean, that was a reasonable price. I was already educated on the whole thing. So, and the point of this story is, every client, every listing that you take, especially if they say the house is rented, sometimes, it may be a little old lady, that's in her 80s, and she's telling me, "Oh yeah, I've had this house rented for 10 years and I'm just tired of these tenants." Well, yeah, she might be tired of those tenants in that house because it's starting to have problems or she's got problem tenants. But she might have 10 other rental properties that, yeah, she wants to get rid of those too, but this one's just the primary one. So what I started doing was anytime that I'm going to meet a client, when I look up their tax information, I always show up with the listing paperwork and stuff all printed out. But when I show up to their house, well, before I show up to their house and I'm doing my research and stuff, I always just type their name in real quick, type the owner's name into the tax record website, just pull it up, see what else they have, and just see. Sometimes they might have another property. You ask them about it during the listing appointment or at the end of the listing appointment, and who knows what you're going to get. I find sometimes I'm kind of surprised what I find. And what I started doing was I started looking up buyers too. When I talk to a buyer that's kind of seriously interested in buying a house, and we've had some meaningful, serious conversations, I do the same thing. I type their name into the tax records, just look it up real quick, see if they own anything. Um, sometimes sometimes with all your buyers, you should be asking, "Hey, do you have a house or a piece of property you need to sell first?" And sometimes, you ask that question, but they don't, yeah, they have another piece of property or they have another house, but they don't really need to sell it. Um, it isn't that they don't want to sell it. They just, you didn't really ask about that. You asked, do they have one they had to sell before they buy? And the answer might be no. They've got a property they'll like to sell, but they don't have to sell it first. So, all your clients, look them up in the tax records. The new clients you're getting, go back through if you've been in the business for a while. Look up some of your old clients. Look and see what they've got. Especially the ones that you sold their house. You did a great job. You got them the amount that they were looking for. Look them up in the tax records. Call them back. It's a great way to get back in touch with them, and hopefully get some business out of them. So this is Jason Morris with Real Estate Agents That Really Work. My book, you can find it on Amazon, 53 Strategies to Get More Listings, and the Kindle version and the paperback version's available. You guys have a great day.